Okay, Rachel, I'm gonna let you go ahead and start, honey.
All right. I am super excited. I love talking about why it's important to lead and how we lead. Um, because I'm going to start with a story, just tell you guys a little bit about why this is so important. Um, so, a couple of years ago, I was having a really hard time. I was making all kinds of excuses. I wanted to quit a couple of things that I was doing. And I knew that it was a mindset issue that I was having a problem with because I just kept making excuses as to why it was okay for me to quit. That's how you always know that it's a mindset because you have to make excuses that your mind will accept. Okay. That's when you know it's mindset. When you're laying in bed and your alarm clock goes off and you're like, oh, 5 more minutes. I've had a really hard week. I mean, I had to get up early for 3 days in a row. I mean, I went to bed late last night. When you convince yourself of all these things, that's a mindset issue. Okay. Um, but I was having a really bad mindset issue and I wanted to quit a couple of things. And I was like, I'm not quitting again. Like, I just had a stroke. Like, what on earth? I cannot quit. And so I called a mentor of mine, or spoke with a mentor of mine, and he told me a couple of stories, just a couple of real quick stories. I really don't even remember what the stories were, to be honest. That's the sign of a good leader. It doesn't really matter what they say, it's that they offered me hope. Okay. And so he tells me a couple of stories. And as he's telling me these stories, all of a sudden I start to realize, oh, this is an all or nothing mentality. I want to give up because I didn't give the 100% that I thought I had to give. Doesn't matter that that was 100% that I could give that day, right? It just wasn't 100% that I set the goal to. And so I wanted to quit because if I didn't give 100%, then I might as well give zero, right? Then I don't, at least if it doesn't work for me, then there's no love lost, right? It didn't quit on me, I quit on it. And so, um, it took about 10 minutes, didn't take a huge long time. He tells me these stories, and all of a sudden, my mind will no longer accept that I can just give up. Because if I give 100% of what I can give, that's all I can give. Now, the trick is you can't just lay on the couch and say, oh, I'm tired. I'm not going to do it. The trick is you don't have to give the top of the line, the best that you think you have to give, right? We think we have to go to the gym for an hour. That's just a good rough estimate, right? We think we have to do that when we haven't even walked a mile, right? We can't even do a mile. Why would we think that we're supposed to go to the gym for an hour? But if we're giving the best that we can give and our all, and we're doing it to the best of our ability, then it doesn't have to be that 100% that the world may say that it requires. It only has to be the 100% that you can give. Now, part of my issue I realize is because I had had a stroke. At that point, it was recently, and I was having to relearn to do some things, right? So it wasn't my 100% that I could give completely, before the stroke. It was the 100% that I could give then. But I wanted to quit because it wasn't my best that I had seen myself do. And so, as we're working back up to whatever our best is, as long as we're giving it our all, we don't have to quit. We can just keep going. And so, I think the biggest point that I have seen in leadership is we can't lead anyone else if we can't lead ourselves. And so, I know I put a thing in the chat earlier and just said, "Who's a leader?" The truth is, we're all leaders, every single one of us. But you have to lead yourself. Whether it is to lead yourself, that makes you a leader if you do it. Whether it's to lead your children, that makes you a leader. Whether it's to lead a community outreach or a class at church or a business, it doesn't matter what it is. We can't lead anyone else unless we lead ourselves first. All right, I'm trying to get through some of my notes here. Okay, so the next thing that really wanted to tell you guys, and that's really what made me think of putting it this way, and it's that leaders control the message. So if you have a message that you want to get out there, and I'm not talking um, for any sinister reasons. I'm talking just the message. If I want my kids to grow up knowing that they can be all that they can be if they give themselves or give the situation all that they can give it, then I have to control that message for them. If I don't control that message, somebody is. So I have a message to give, whether it's to myself, whether it's to my kids, whether it's to my community or my business. I have a message to control. And whether that message is you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you, or you can be a leader in your business. You can get up every day. You can make millions of dollars. You can lead people. You can take the products. You can fix the problems that you have in your life. Any message that I have to lead myself in order to get that message out there, because people will not follow you if you are not leading yourself. I like to think of leadership as a car. So if you're driving along and you hit your brakes because you don't know where you're going, then people can't follow it. But if you go there and then you come back and you take people with you, then they can follow you because you know where you're going. And so that's what casting a vision for anybody is. That's what the message that you have in your business, the purpose that you have. You know, God doesn't give anyone a gift unless he attaches it to a purpose. I promise you, if you are alive, if you are breathing, you have a gift and you have a purpose. Um, but I want to talk about just a couple of ways, and I'll talk about some of the ways that I use to lead my kids, and that flows over into my business, and it flows over into my community. It flows over into everything. But first, we have to lead ourselves. And so, one thing that I have learned that I can do is I don't set big, gigantic goals because my mind doesn't ever think that I complete them. My mind is watching everything that I do. If I set an alarm and then I hit snooze, my mind sees it. She didn't get up on time. She didn't follow her own ways. And it doesn't matter what time you set that for. The point is you set it and you didn't follow what you said. Right? So anytime that you do anything, you have to prove to yourself that you lead yourself. I lead myself up under my husband every day. Do I always like that it may take a few extra minutes for him to react? No, he thinks about things a whole lot longer than I do. But it's my job to lead myself to in submission to him so that he can be the leader. But if we can't lead ourselves to do those simple things, they're not as simple as they sound. I promise you, if you've ever tried to get under the leadership of somebody who's not moving as fast as you and you're used to moving fast, it doesn't work very well, right? It's not fun. But if you can bite your tongue for a moment, that's proof that you're a leader. That's proof that you're leading yourself. That's proof that people can see a way through. My children know that my husband is respected by me. I prove that to them by making myself submit. And that doesn't mean that I, just allow him to do anything and everything. He's a really great guy, right? So I'm not condoning any kind of abuse or anything that we should just be um we should just put up with anything. I don't know your situation. I'm not trying to speak to your situation. I'm speaking about my situation. My children know that we honor my husband. The reason they know that is because I show that to them. And I love the saying that more is caught than taught, because I see it play out so often with my kids. That's one of the easiest ways that I can see it play out. It plays out in every area of our lives, though. It plays out in business, it plays out in community, it plays out in anything we talk to friends on, that we coach people on, our teammates. It plays out in every area of life, but I see it play out quickly in my children because they don't ever listen to me saying, don't beat yourself up, if the only thing they ever see me do is beat myself up for something I did or did not do. But if I can set smaller goals and accomplish those, then they learn how to set smaller goals and accomplish those. I had a moment with my son a couple of months ago, and he was like, Mom, I want to go outside and work out an hour every day. I said, well, that's a great goal. He's 9 years old, right? So I was like, there are times that you're at your dad's. I don't have control over like making sure you get up and do that. I can't keep you accountable. So why don't we set a smaller goal? And if you hit an hour every single day, then great, you hit the hour. He wanted to do it in one specific way, and it was playing soccer. And I was going, you can't always control that you're able to do that. As you become an adult, you'll be able to control that. But as a child, you don't have any control over what the weather's like, if your dad got up early enough, or if I got up early enough, or late enough, or stayed up, or there was enough light outside, or it doesn't really matter. You don't have enough control over how you do it. You need to set a smaller goal. And so he did. He said it, and he hits it and he achieves it every day. And, it's wonderful. I love that he can. But he was so accomplished when, for the first 6 months, he said it and he kept it. And he goes, I can do it. And I was like, I know. We don't set these big goals because we can't even keep them, right? We have an idea in our head, and we're like, oh, we'll walk an hour every day. We'll go to the gym. We'll do this. We'll do that. And we set these goals, kind of like I like to, see people in their New Year's resolutions. They set all these huge goals, but then they don't even keep them past the 1st of February because we can't keep them. We aren't set up in our lives to keep them. And so if you hear anything from me tonight, you need to hear this: set smaller goals. Just hit that next step, because if you focus on the entire staircase and that entire goal, all you're going to do is breed anxiety. All you're going to do is continue to beat yourself up. Learn to lead yourself in the things that you do every single day, and everything else follows. Something that I heard that I have seen is absolutely true is how you do anything is how you do everything. And if I learn to set my alarm and just get up, whether I'm tired, whether I'm not tired, I also learn that I can just get to a job on time, or I can run a business on time, or I can post every day because I just get up and do it. And my brain like clicks and goes, oh, she is the kind of person that does it. And it gives you the ability to move to the next level. I want to make sure I wrote everything down, so I'm looking at my notes, okay? um, Lead with vision, not with pressure. One of the easiest ways for people to understand what we're saying is stories. And I think about my mentor, as he just told me a few stories. He didn't give me advice. He didn't tell me what to do or tell me how to think. He simply told me a couple of stories, and that let me think. So I don't remember what the stories were that he told me, but what I remember is what I thought in that process, what I was able to understand, what all of a sudden was able to break free in my life, because all of a sudden somebody cared enough to just say, I'm not even going to tell you what the story was, because I really don't have a clue what he said, other than he allowed me to stop thinking that I had to set these big goals that I couldn't accomplish. I set myself up for failure. And that's the lesson that I learned more than anything. And so now I just set smaller goals, and I can hit them every single time. And if I miss them, it's no problem to get back on that bandwagon and say, nope, I set a goal. I don't miss them. One of my favorite things to do now, especially when I'm whining and I'm crying in my head, going, "Oh, I don't want to do that." I go, is 15 minutes going to take me down? Really? Is that it? Like, really? That's all I could do? Huh. And it's amazing. I don't beat myself up about missing it. I tell myself, really? You're going to whine and cry because 15 minutes was too much? And all of a sudden I'm like, "Oh, it's only 15 minutes. Okay, I can do that. I got 24 hours in a day. I can do 15 minutes." And I promise you, as you get used to doing the 15 minutes, you're going to continue. You don't ever stop. Once you get started, you're not going to stop. But you have to get started. Um and I think more than anything, I wanted to let you guys know why it's worth it, why it's important to be the leader in your life, because everybody in your life depends on you. I don't care if it's just yourself. I don't care if it's your kids. I don't care if it's your spouse. I don't care if it's your business. I don't care what it is. Everybody depends on you. And if you don't think they do, then you're wrong. Call me and I will tell you. Okay, we'll find people that depend on you. Even if it's to wake them up, to get them going, to remind them of things, right? If nobody else thinks that or needs you to do that, you need you to do that. Okay, if you decide you're not going to wake up, you won't wake up. If you don't decide you're going to get up, you won't get up. If you don't decide you're going to run your business, then you won't run your business. And then think of all the people that were coming behind you that never got to come. You know, I when I first started this business, it was 2 years before my stroke. I had no idea I was going to have a stroke. No clue. But everything that I had done in this business for that 2 years prior to my stroke is the reason that I got through the stroke. See, when I first started this business, I was crying in the store parking lot because I couldn't buy food for my kids and I didn't know which kid was going to eat. And then I was working so much that I never got to see them anyway. But this business allowed me to come home. And do you know that I came home and I started homeschooling and I started cooking and I started doing more with my kids, and my kids are the reason that I got through the stroke. I wouldn't be here if my why wasn't strong enough to get me up off my butt and learn to walk again, learn to eat again, learn to shower again. They told me I would never cook for my kids again. And I about lost it. I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, you can't hold a knife." And I went, "What do you mean?" They were like, "Well, you can't take food out of the oven. You don't have enough strength to do that." And I was like, "But what do you mean?" Because my point was my kids needed me. I had a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old that had to have me there. And I was going to lose that for the rest of my life. Who knew how long that would be? But I wouldn't have wanted to get through that. They wouldn't have been a strong enough why if I hadn't already been able to come home from work, if I hadn't already been able to start homeschooling, if I hadn't been able to start paying for groceries and stop living that life of just struggle. So, who are the moms that wouldn't get to come if I don't speak about my purpose? If I don't tell my story, if I don't lead myself, who can I not lead? Who's going to be sitting there struggling, worrying about how they're going to pay for groceries? Who's going to have a stroke because I didn't ever speak up? My purpose matters. And you have a purpose too. It doesn't have to be as serious as a stroke. It doesn't have to be as serious as Rusty's. Thank goodness if your story is not as life threatening as mine are Rusty's. Thank goodness. But you have a story and you have to start speaking it, because if you don't, somebody's not going to catch it. They're going to miss it. They're going to miss their chance to live. They're going to miss their chance to be happy. They're going to miss their chance to have a better life. They're going to miss the finances. They're going to miss the gift of what their life could look like if you would speak. And so it's important for you to speak. You have to start leading yourself so you can lead others. If not, what's the point? Because I don't know anyone on here who says, oh, it's all about money. I just want money. I don't care about speaking about a purpose. I don't care about having a purpose. And if you do, that's probably why you aren't moving forward. You have to care about people. And I promise you, if you just start speaking, then that purpose will come through and people will find you and people will see you. And the more you share it, the more lives you can touch. And the longer you wait, the longer or the more people you will miss. I have some more on here, but that's really what I wanted to get out. I really wanted to let you know that you have a purpose and there's a reason why you need to speak about it. Because somebody's waiting for you. If Rusty hadn't spoke, I wouldn't have found him. And just so you all know, he was the mentor I was talking about. He changed everything in this business for me. And it wasn't because he did anything. It's because he spoke to me and he spoke life into me. So be the Rusty for someone else. Speak up, because somebody is waiting on you and somebody needs you. Rusty, that's all I have.
Well, that's just totally amazing. It touches me in the heart after all these years. And I know what you went through, and I've seen your comeback. It's the comeback story that means the most to people. You have to be willing to share your story. What you do is you lend the hope, you give them courage, you give them the power to muster up. And, I was taking some notes today. I was reading, and I got really excited about something I saw from my granddaughter. And you always become whatever you're fascinated with. That's called the law of the mind. Whatever you're fascinated with is the law of the mind. So if you become fascinated by poverty or your circumstances, well, you're going to be poor, because that's what gets your focus and your attention. If you become fascinated with being sick and the reports of all kind of diseases and all the things happen, like with Rachel, what's happened in my past, well, the fascination you'll get it, and it'll get you if you're fascinated with that kind of thing. And that won't mean nothing to nobody on the Zoom until it happens. And when it happens to you, don't wait with your fascinations of the negative silliness, and it is silliness, until something happens to you physically and you're forced to make a change or die. That was the only options I had. I had 6 months to get it together, so the doctor said, but I turned into an alpha wolf. I'm sure it's the way I was raised on the farm and the whole bit, and being just determined as I could be from a great grandfather or grandfather and my father. And so if you want to become wealthy, you want to become fascinated with wealth and wealthy people. How do they do it? What do they participate in? What do they not participate in? What is your fascination? And every one of them I've ever met, and I do run with not to brag, but I do run with a group of billionaire guys. Their fascination is creating solutions for other people's problems. It's not about money. It's about helping others. And they really come after it in a big way. And when you're fascinated about, man, I want to come after it in that kind of way. Well, when your fascination changes, that changes your focus. That changes what you do every day. That will get you up on time. That will get you in the gym. That will get you started. And the more you start, every single day, the more contribution you make, the bigger contribution you can make, the stronger you get. The one thing is overcoming the mind. And it's stuff that happens to all of us. And so if you want to be successful and prosperous, become fascinated with success and prosperous people. Fascination is the fuel that gives you your energy, and that's what you'll become. And once you give your energy, attention, and focus to it, that's what you become. Everything else is just a mere excuse. I don't care what it is. It's just an excuse. It's not to get the work done. Why you think it's too hard? Somebody's going to tell you no for the 14 millionth time. So they're not meant for you. But you've planted the seed. And so you want more out of life, become fascinated with life. Become fascinated with your big dream. Without a big dream, you ain't got nothing. You got somebody else that's dictating your future. And so when you make up your mind, I'm going to become fascinated about becoming prosperous. And I'm going to focus on the prosperous. I'm going to do the necessary activities that make me prosperous. This ain't rocket science, and this ain't hard. It's only as hard as you make it. Focus on the good and being grateful. And what that's going to do is going to give you your power back. And once you get your power back, nothing can stop you. Nothing. If you stick your toe in the water, you probably won't do anything. It's too cold. It's too hot. It's too hard. I don't have time. You'll make excuses about every freaking thing. But here's the part that I want just to hit home. If you're ready to take some notes, disciplined people are the only free people. Disciplined people are the only free people. Everybody else is nothing more than your slave to your moods. Your big dreams are waiting on you to decide to make that your reality. And when you make your big dreams becomes a reality, you live with something Rachel said, purpose. And when you start to live with your purpose and you live in your purpose, therefore, life begins to change. Everybody's hoping this is the magic and I'm going to win the lottery. And I guess people do win that thing. I mean, but most people don't win it because they never bought the ticket. But now they're pissed off because they didn't get that's the way it is. And so I'm fixing to become one of the biggest gangsters on earth. I'm sick and tired of what I've been seeing. Billy the Kid or Robin Hood or whoever. But I've come across the richest entities in the world that's been robbing us. Every community has more than one. And so when you were born, God gave you a specific set of gifts. And you were birthed into a blueprint called life. And you have dreams and visions, but then they send you to school. Nothing wrong with school. But then they teach you how to be an employee. They teach you how to be a good little boy and girl, and they want to give you a specific skill set that fits them. And therefore, that takes you out of control of your time. And then they're going to teach you to go to the doctor and get on all these medications. And they're going to poison our foods, and it keeps you at nothing but that big business where it keeps the super rich. And therefore, they're dictating your future. But when you make up your mind, you're not going to let those rich people have it anymore. You can take it away from you, because here's how you're going to do it. You ready for the plan of action? Put a 1 in the chat if you're ready for the plan of action. And I'm going to reveal the richest places in every community. This getting all the resources. It's the graveyard. The richest places in the world is the graveyard, where people go to die and let all your dreams, your everything you got, all your gifts that God gave you, to go to the next level, and you just let somebody else dictate your future. And they dictate your future by, they're going to pay you a wage. They're going to give you a salary. Oh, you're going to get a benefits package. Oh, I got a benefits package. But then you're going to waste what's most precious to you, is the memories you should be making with your family. And I was a 7-figure earner at the bank. Worked hard to get there. But you know what happened to me? My little girls were growing up and I wasn't here. I called to fly out 3 hours late. The best thing it could have done to me that afternoon is told me no. Well, I'm a country boy. I'm like Kevin. We're from the mountains and farmers, and we come up kind of rough, but very determined. And so I'm creating a wolf pack and a powers couple. And if you want to be part of the power couple, that's where Mark was telling me the other week when Rob and I became the first power couple and it works, the whole company exploded. That means we're both going after it. And so if you don't want to take everything you gave, all your wealth to the grave, you got to use it and give it away and spend it now. And therefore, when you take the bow off the box and pull the lid off and all those gifts he put in you, and you start to go after, I don't care what broke people say. I don't really care what nobody thinks of me. It ain't none of my business what your opinion of me is. But you know what? I have people in my family that when I left the bank, they talked all kind of craziness, but they're the ones that's still sick, poor, and broke. They're punching clocks, and they got a benefits package, little health insurance. Why in the holy hell do they give you health insurance on a job? Because they're going to know they're going to get you addicted to the process, and then they're going to get you on some drugs, and you'll keep being addicted to the process. And you know what's going to happen? They got you for life. And all of a sudden, you get to the retirement age. Well, I'm going to retire. Woohoo! And you go retire, and you got 3 or 4 good years left. But what you don't have is you don't have the memories with the people you love most. That's why you hear me talk about every day on one of my social media platforms. And hey, social media is a fraction of the way I do this. You can ask the people on here. I pick up the phone, I call people. And I want to let you know I care. I want to keep my integrity going and let you know that you mean something to me. And we're going to fight like hell to help you win physically or financially or both. And you know what? I cannot lead this organization if I don't get up and lead by example. That's why y'all see my lives in the morning. I'm ready to go into my health club and work out. And I do that almost every day. I couldn't do that to start with. Hell, I couldn't even hardly walk without canes and walkers. But I did a 20-mile run the other day. It took 4 hours. I'm almost 63. And they said, how did you do it? I said, I wasn't doing it for my physical well-being. I was doing it for my mental well-being. The further you push yourself, now you know you can push yourself a little further. You get up and show up every single day. So every one of y'all got your hands on the most opportune opportunities I've ever seen. This will pay you for generations to come. I know. Going into 24, 5 years, whatever I've been here, 2.5 decades. Never missed a monster check. Never off of what we did the first month. But when you make up your mind, you're going to be that person that picks up the phone and lets those people know that you care about them. That's all people are missing now. Direct sales is getting a bad name because it's the lack of communication with your customers and your reps. You got to stay in touch with them consistently. And when you stay in touch with them consistently, they know you care. It might not be the right time today, but they'll think about it. You've planted the seed. I care about you. And when they can hear your voice, they know you care about them. But I want to ask you, what are you fascinated with? What excuses are you fascinated with? When you become fascinated about your big dream, it don't matter how old you are, how young you are, what your physical well-being is, everything can be changed. And just getting focused, getting the discipline to become free. If not, you're going to be on the plantation your whole life. And I wish I would, I should have, could have. None of that crap matters. It's the end of it. But I want to ask you another question. And then I'm going to hit you guys pretty hard. The next question, did you make the memories? Do your children have all those loving memories that they had as a full-time family? Or do they say, that's the way mom and daddy did it, and they're off trying to pursue what you did, and now you're not making the memories the way God designed it and put us here, is to be with each other. That's why people call me the alpha wolf, because I run a wolf pack over here. And that's not to brag, but I want to tell you something. Any of y'all ever been to the Barnum and Bailey Circus? You ever seen a circus at all? Well, if you've been to the circus, what'd you see? Lions, tigers, bears, all kinds of animals out there. But I bet you one thing, you never saw a wolf. A wolf is untrainable. They stay with their partner for life. They run in a pack because they win as a family. You don't mess with the wolf pack unless you want to get eat up. And I'm not saying that to be vicious or nasty or brag. I'm just telling them that's the mindset you should have. I'm not going to be trainable through an educational system or the circus, because when you got the circus in town, what else you got? You got all those clowns. I ain't never liked a clown no way. I don't want a bunch of clowns in what I'm doing. That's why I run as a wolf pack, and we stay very focused and very disciplined about what we're after. and I want to lead by example, and I want to be fascinated by the next challenge, and I want to be fascinated by helping you go to the next level, and I want you to become fascinated by going to the next level, and I want you to have the discipline to become free. You will never be free as long as you're not disciplined. You can make every flippant excuse in the world. And so when I walked in and fired the bank, and I will not use the terms I used at the bank, I really saw them in half. It was no going back. Even though they said, we'll hold your job for 6 months. It's no, you won't. I ain't coming back. If I have to get a job on a trash truck, I ain't coming back here. But if I can be successful for you, I can be successful for me. Now, what if I hadn't have made that decision when I got sick? The cortisol levels was really high. The tumor was already forming. Well, I'd have just been another sad statistic on the job. But God already knew that I needed what I have now to get my health back in line, to alkalize the body, to get the hormones in line, to live like now I'm just in as good a shape as I was in 18. And so the blood work says. And I feel that good. And I want to tell you something. Nothing beats feeling good, but nothing becomes fascinated about getting yourself together. And when you become fascinated about your future, it is a small investment that you make every single day to make this thing work. But the investment you're going to have to pay by not doing something like this is going to be the biggest loser you've ever had. Because as you start to get sick and decline and your medical bills skyrocket, you're going to wish you would have. Don't get in the state of wish you would. You can become fascinated in becoming the best physical version of you. And when you become fascinated about becoming the best physical version for yourself, you impact your spouse, you impact your children, you impact your grandchildren, you impact your organization, you impact your customers, you impact everybody that means anything to you. And then you're going to start attracting more people that's fascinated by your story. Because right now, the pen is in your hand. You are the author of your story. I like to write every morning. And the reason I get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and I start writing, sometimes I write for an hour, just put my thoughts to paper. And as I write, a lot of it is about being grateful from where I came from to where I am to where I'm going. And when you live in the attitude of gratitude, you begin to change. Your fascination starts to change when you live in the attitude of gratitude. And that's based off of your personality and your routines. But once you get in a disciplined routine, there are 3 things that factor into the routine. And that's why I like to write early in the morning. I'm not distracted. And I want to know, well, the things I'm writing as I put it out to people, multiple people a day, are they willing to listen? But did I say something that intrigued them enough to turn the page? And when you turn the page, you've done something. But the biggest thing I ask myself is, do I live what I write? Are you living what you write? You're writing your story, or you're committed. If you really want to be successful, you will commit the story to paper. But are you living it? Are you just trying to sell somebody something so you can make some money? This ain't about money. It's not. Oh, you're going to get paid well when you do it correctly. But I want to ask you, think about this. Are you really living your story? Are you really committed to it till you have the success you need? Everybody wants success overnight, but it takes years and years to have this kind of success of commitment. And so, they start you off where you get your little job, and they start you off at minimum wage or whatever that is nowadays, 10, 20 bucks an hour, whatever. I don't even know what the wages deal is any longer. And they're paying you on the value you bring to the table per hour or for the salary. And the salary people, you're already, they're going to demand much more from you. And so you're going to get better in that particular area, or you're going to get fired. And they can take your little benefits package away. And so think about it. If you don't structure your time with a program like this, and this program has tried and proven for 24 years, the only thing is on trial is the people on this Zoom, including me. But if you're not structuring your time where you start to own your time, to have that discipline, somebody else has structured your time, because there's somebody at the top of whatever you're doing And they're living life like me. But they're waiting on for your sweat equity to show up so they can give you a little bit of chicken shit money by the hour in a benefits package so you keep showing up tomorrow. But then they structure your time. They tell you when you can have a little break, when you can go to the bathroom, when you can get a 30-minute lunch, and when you can go back to the bathroom. And then you get to go home for a little bit and you're exhausted. I know, I've done it. And then you get to stress all night because you're still short on money. You're still got the bills flying. Oh, they want you in debt too. You know why? Because that keeps you coming back to the slave plantation. And the next morning, you just get to get up and do it all again. And then they're going to give you Saturday and Sunday off. That's why I hated the weekends. And then most people nowadays, they have to have a couple more jobs at night when they get off of work. And they have to have it over the weekend so they can barely make ends meet. Ain't that sad? So therefore, what you've bought into, while that's somebody else's structuring your time. So I'm going to tell you, go all in on what you're doing. Work harder when you get off work than you do. You become the CEO when you step into your purpose here. You step into your house, or like me, Kevin and I, we ride the roads and we're traveling all over the place, and we're on the phone constantly. And we're making things happen. We're planting the seeds. But work harder on your business than you do on your job. Now you're the CEO. Hold yourself accountable. Get fascinated with breaking for free. Because I tell you what's going to happen. When you're able to walk in and fire your boss, God, the feeling that you get, the feeling of freedom that I get to really live this purpose that God gave me. You know, for all you men, when I left the bank, Ms. Lackey has not had to do anything for all these years. I took care of all of it. And I ain't bragging on me. She's the reason I got started. She was mad as hell when I left the bank to do this. But when I come after it, I come after it like a alpha wolf. You know why? Because I want to prove to my wife, if I can do it for them, I can do it for us. And I want to prove to my two little girls that Daddy loves you so much. I'm so proud of you. Ain't nobody going to come in and take over my two daughters. Hell no. And you ain't going to tell me I can't go to a ball game or see them get their awards no longer. It's because I can tell you what you can do with all that. And the one thing to fire your boss is let them know how much you appreciate them. That's what I did to this one. I said, last Thursday when you said because you said so, you made me realize what's most important to me, and it ain't you. It's my two little girls. I'll see you, Buckwheat. And I said a couple other things. I don't quite remember the wording, but it wasn't pleasant. And I would have whipped. We could have had an altercation there if that's what he had wanted. I was prepared for that as well. I was angry at him. But you know what? You can talk to my daughters because it works global. Mark Pentecost. I never missed nothing. Nothing. And when Daddy's out of town and Mama's out of town, the babies was with us. That's what a full-time family's like. Now, have we worked hard? Yes. Do we still work hard? Yes. Do we make excuses? No. Not on my physical well-being and not on my business. Do you know why? Because I love freedom. I love waking up whenever I want to, which is very early. I don't live by alarm clocks, which you shouldn't either, if that's what you really want. So get your toe out of the water, get back and take off running and dive all in. And that don't what you can't do that Monday. That happens now. You get all in right now. And it ain't no more than putting a good solid hour into your business with a specific priority plan of action is what you're going to get done tomorrow in your business. You schedule the time. You might have some other stuff going on. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Just make sure that your business here will become a priority, because here's why. When you do that, when my father was sick, dying, I didn't do nothing for almost 3 months. Not a phone call. I never missed a check. When I got sick for 4 years and they said, it's over, I never missed a check. It took care of me through the rough times that we were having. And I knew that this day was coming. I was going to get much better because I was going to fight like hell for it. You know why? For the love of that girl I've been with for 47 years. For the love of those two grown daughters. And Uncle Kevin there, he gets to holler at my granddaughter a couple times a week while she's with Papa in the backseat of the old truck. And she said, that Uncle Kevin? I said, yeah, baby doll, Uncle Kevin's calling. And you know what? Ain't no, you tell me what's better than that. And I get to spend all the time I want with her at any given time. And can't nobody tell me yes, no, or nothing. Not unless you want the old alpha to bite you or maybe pull out something and shoot you. I didn't really mean that. I'm just going to get away from you because you can't dictate my time. I've been here too long. But here's what I want most for y'all. None of this is about being braggadocious. It's just a reality. I want every one of you to live like me. I want every one of you not to stress over debt. I want every one of you to not stress over the lack of or being sick or feeling bad. I want every one of you, with the product line we have, nobody should be here and you shouldn't be overweight. It might take some of us longer than others to get your hormones in line. And a lot of that's going to do with your diet as well. Like Melissa and I, we talk consistently about something she and I are doing as far as the way we eat. I want you to be the healthiest bunch of people on earth. I want you girls to be the sexiest women on earth. When people, you walk up and they say, oh my God, that's the It Works girls. We know what they're doing because you got a product line that's tried and proven. The compensation plan is tried and proven. Oh, the best is yet to come. I can't tell you about it, but it's going to get even better before the end of the month. Most of you got $7,300 worth of bonuses sitting there on the table. Are you going to make that on your little job or your little hustle? No, you're not. I would be busting everything I got in me to get that done in a structured order because here's about the wolf pack. We're all in it to help you succeed. We'll show up as a pack together and we won't back down. And we got too many years behind us to prove what we say is correct. We got the before and afters. We got the incomes. And I want y'all to have it too. And you know what? It's nothing more than a conscious decision and a discipline that you're going to gather every day. You're going to get up and you're going to do the right things. And once you do that, I'll be able to pass this business off to my children and my great granddaughter. It's going to still be gaining momentum after I'm gone, which I'm going to probably be about 150 before that happens. And once you take care of you, you'll be surprised how you reverse age and all the wrinkles start to leave your face. And God, I told my wife today, I said, when I went in the bathroom earlier this morning, she said, yeah. I said, couldn't hardly stand myself. I looked so good in that mirror. She said, something is wrong with you. I said, no, I've been with you for 47 years. That's exactly what's wrong with me. So I'm always got some humor going on. Do you know why? Because I know what it's like to be laying there and your wife has to take care of you. And they say it's over. Please don't ever get to that point. Gain your discipline now. Get your plan of action started. Start to execute your plan of action. The best defense in the world can never win a ball game. It's the offense that always wins. They're the ones that score the points. So get out of the spectators' stands. Stop being a spectator and get in the game and go all in. Everybody likes to win. Everybody like to win? If you don't like to win, put a 10 in the chat. So I'm going to call you a liar. I'm going to tell you this, and we're going to be done. Got a FaceTime with my granddaughter here in a minute. This coach told my daughters very early, and he said, just go play good, give it the best you got, and it don't matter win or lose. That does not matter as long as you're playing good. I said, don't you ever tell my daughters that again. I got right off the bleachers and went up to him. He said, well, I said, I don't care what your philosophy is. It ain't mine. I said, you see that scoreboard? You see them girls over there crying? They lost. There's the score. The score does matter. Don't teach my children how to be weak if you want to continue coaching them. If not, we're gone. He never said another pretty thing like that again. And we started developing kids and they started winning championships. I said, oh, you just want them to play pretty now that you're being recognized in the state for them championships? I said, no. When you coach, you give it all you got, and they're going to follow your direction. They're going to give it all they got. And if they lose at the end of the game and they gave it all they got and they were 100% all in, so be it. You just got outplayed, but you get stronger. You develop longer. You get to endurance. You go after it. I've never met a wealthy person that went through all kind of struggles. They had fought like hell, and they would pivot and come right back at it. Those are the real winners because they have what? The discipline. And when they have the discipline, what? They have the focus. They have the excitement and everything that excites you. They got all of that. They're excited about their future. But somebody else will dictate your future as long as you don't get all in and you can make an excuse about anything you want to. But I'll tell you what, when you throw excuses out the window and you hold yourself to that accountability and that discipline, there's nothing can stop you from achieving anything you can imagine. Anything you can conjure in your head, you can go get it. Do you know why? Because you're going to become fascinated with your future. Rachel?
That's wonderful. I was just thinking, isn't it wonderful? You mentioned your granddaughter with playing a sport. Was it your granddaughter or your daughter?
It's both my daughters. But hey, I do got you something that's going to happen on Saturday.
Okay.
Baby girl Kevin, baby girl's going to be in Superior Gymnastics starting Saturday. She's only 3, but she's excited as she can be. And I was getting ready to call Kevin today. She said, "Papa, let's go ride the horses." I said, "Well, I'll call Kevin tomorrow."
I love how you just brought that in. You just proved the point that I was trying to say is it overflows into every area of your life. You understand that winning is about giving your all. It isn't about the time. If you didn't succeed, that's okay. It just means it was time to learn. It was time to grow. And I love how that works for your kids' sports and it works for you in business and it works across the board because how we do anything is how we do everything. Anyway, that was wonderful. Thank you so much, Rusty.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Well, look, guys, we've been on here close to an hour. I got one more Zoom to do at 10 o'clock. I just want you to know something. I truly love you. I truly care about you, and I want you to have the best night you've ever had. But please don't go to bed tonight until you get on your knees and you thank God for everything you're grateful for. And don't go to bed until you write out at least 3 things you're going to accomplish in your business tomorrow. And don't go to sleep tomorrow night until you accomplish it. And once you hold yourself to that standard at a higher level, don't ever allow nobody to expect more out of you than you expect out of you, because I will never allow nobody to expect more out of me than I expect out of me. And once you have that alpha wolf pack coming together, and we're going to give it all we got, that way you know you can depend on your team. And when we show up, it's going to happen one way or the other. There ain't no win, loses, and draw. It's only winning. We're coming after it to get it. And once you do that, that's the one thing that attracts people that need us to show up right now. 75% of everybody in America is fat. That's the way they put it today. We're in a $2 trillion market just in America. People need us to show up. We're tried and proven. We're not the latest little fad. Oh, and by the way, those other medical things that people shot. Did y'all see the $2 billion lawsuits that just hit them and gain, and they expect it to be $10 billion before the end of the year? The adverse side effects that people are having a year or so later in that mess. I read all that today and I thought, well, get disciplined and you won't need those poisons. Get focused on it and get committed to it. And then in 14 months, you can be the 10th grade high school weight like I am now. I ain't saying it to brag. It just feels good, though. I told my wife, I said, 32 size pants at my age? Is that not amazing? I said, I could probably wear your pants. And she said, you're going to get hurt here in a minute. Hey, and anyway, I love having fun and I love to be competitive. The competitive nature in you is just a spur on somebody else. If I can do it, we can do it together. And we can accomplish anything you can imagine together. There's nothing can stop us. Rachel. Joy has something.
We're going to end just after this, but I know Joy had her hand up. So, Joy, did you have anything to say?
Yeah, I just want to say that if God puts something in your heart to do it, do it. I've been putting off cleaning my house for like a long time. COVID took me down, but if you go follow me, you'll see I've been cleaning like crazy and it feels so good. And I've been doing so much more in my business because it's like a clear mind, a clear space is a clear mind. Like it's true. Like just do it. Or if it's working out or whatever it is, just do it because that's going to bring the blessing. Because I know my business is about to boom because I'm about to have so many socials at my house and so many activities, so many things, and I'm ready for it. So just do that one thing that you need to do.
Rachel, one other thing, I'll be out of town next Tuesday night at a big event, and they got like 100 ladies already bought the wraps, so that's going to take a while. So if y'all want to make this another day next week, I'll be here to show up. But we do have multiple events going on, and we're getting back to the old way to do it. And you'll be surprised how excited everybody is to get to show up and just to listen, to see, and to try the product line. So it's going to be a big deal.
That is wonderful. All right, Rusty, I know you need to leave. Did anybody else have anything to say before we end tonight?
God bless you both for your report.
All right. Thank you guys so much for being on. I hope you have a wonderful night. I'll have this recording up by 8 a.m. tomorrow.